Hey, how are you? I want to continue on part 2 of the key foundations of marriage that I found out when I was doing some research and going to talk about marriage and also just engaging in my own life. My name is Angie Morenga and you're watching Just Angie. Point number 5 is being vulnerable. This one I must laugh. You know, I don't know why we act like we don't need each other. Yes, we do. We need each other. We got married. And this is not the place now to bring in attitude and behave like you don't need each other. You have to be vulnerable to one another in marriage. It's really, really important. And in there, I also put the point of confront yourself. You know, sometimes you need to go and have a meeting with yourself and do what I call a SWOT analysis. The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, or that for me as a person, for this marriage, for the reason why I got into this marriage, just confront yourself, but be vulnerable. Be vulnerable with you, be vulnerable with your spouse. You know, you cannot have attitude for each other. It's not going to work. Marriage is a place of vulnerability. It's a place of being naked and not ashamed. Be vulnerable and even talk about how you're feeling. You know, don't be afraid that if you open up to the other person about how you're feeling, that it's going to have a negative effect on you. And if it does, it doesn't matter. You did what was right and you are vulnerable. The other thing is build each other up. I really love that. And I think there also comes into conflict resolution. You know, I saw marriages where people can agree to disagree and the marriage continues. It continues to thrive. Nobody's not talking to each other. You know, it's not nail by mouth. It's not, there's no negative action that is coming from the fact that you have differing points of view. And so for each person and each couple, I think it's different, but maybe even before you get married, talk about how you're going to handle conflict and how you're going to resolve conflict and who's going to be accountable for that. So build each other up. I believe that you should go on retreat, just the two of you, appreciate each other, have affection, and serve sacrificially each other. Let me talk about retreating. You know, it's amazing that I find that even in places where people should be with their spouses, they're not there. You know, like sometimes maybe it's a prayer meeting, something where everybody else is going with their spouse, but we're not going. And I don't know why we're getting into this culture of doing things alone. You know, I was even giving an analogy the other day how when we had one car, we were very close to each other. Then when the more we get now, you know, it's like we continue not being with each other, the more separate we become. So I think building each other up is also appreciating one another, spending time together, going away on retreats together, going away regularly, even as a family together, and being able to handle conflict and be able to grow and maybe be able to accept correction from the other person. So build each other up, appreciate each other, show affection, and serve each other sacrificially. And then the 7th one is you're a work in progress. And remember, the marriage is a work in progress. You as individuals are a work in progress, but also the marriage is a work in progress. It cannot be perfect, and it's always growing. And again, I come into there are seasons, so understand the seasons. Even the intimacy is a work in progress. I love the fact that they say, you know, when you're getting married and you're all excited, you have your white dress and you're having this marriage. That's not it. You know, you don't understand that you're just beginning a journey that is going to take the rest of your life, you know. So you need to get to know each other. You possibly, even if you've dated, you don't know each other. There are things now that you're going to know about each other. You're in each other's spaces. You're there all the time. So as you develop intimacy with one another, there will be things that you begin to understand about the other person that you didn't know and that you probably could not have known, even no matter how long you've dated, no matter how much you think you know each other. Marriage is a work in progress. Remember that. Keep that in front of you. This is a work in progress. So work on it, but it's progressing and it's developing, and allow the process, you know, allow the process to flow. Allow the process, and I like to say submit to the process and also enjoy to the process. When I talk about work in progress, you have to die to self. It brings me to mind, there's a scripture that says, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground, it cannot produce. I think it's John 12:24. So this is the place of death to self. Marriage is about sacrifice. And marriage is about dying to self, dying to your own selfish ambition, dying to your own selfish needs and thoughts, and meeting the needs of the other person. And as you work on the marriage and understand that it's a work in progress, please be committed, choose to love, and be patient. You know, it's amazing. There's a scripture, I think in Corinthians, where people really use it for their marriage, but I don't think they've really looked at it. They haven't thought about it. Because it says love is patient, love is kind. You know, have you really sit down and look about what love is? Look at all those things. Examine them. It's talking about kindness, it's talking about perseverance, it's talking about gentleness, it's talking about long suffering. You know, actually we use that scripture for marriages, but we actually haven't looked about it. It says that love is patient, love is kind, it does not remember all the wrongs. You know, you were standing here with a blue shirt and this is what you did. Marriage is a work in progress. Remember that as a key foundation. But choose to love and be patient. Let the marriage go through the process. Let each individual go through the process, even the process of in-laws, the process of friends, even finding your pace and finding your rhythm together. And the eighth point is that you have to be friends and you have to cultivate friendship. And that's what I was saying. I think it's so sad that people are not spending time together. That you get married and then I don't know why you lose this sight that you're friends. You know, the first person you should call is your spouse if something happens, you know, just like the way you are with your friend. So cultivate friendship. And even before you engage in marriage, ensure that you're friends, that you like each other, that you like spending time together. What is it that makes your friendship powerful? Because that's what's going to make your marriage powerful, you know. Hold each other in confidence, things that, you know, friends have secrets, they share vulnerable things about each other that they don't share with the world. So be friends as well. Yeah, remember that in order for marriage to work, you need to be friends. And I don't know why I put it in there, but I'll just say it, is never compare. You can't compare. You don't compare friends. You have different friends maybe for different spaces, you know. You have different friends for different seasons, you know, but you can't compare. I think the worst thing you could do is compare your spouse to somebody else, you know. Don't compare. Don't compare on past relationships and things that have happened before. Don't even voice it, yeah? So be friends, cultivate friendship. The way you try with your friend, you know, I won't say that because it's my friend, or I understand that's where my friend is coming from. That's why maybe she said this or he said this is because I understand them. Do the same and practice the same in your marriage. So those are the 4 points that I want to share today. Be vulnerable with each other, build each other up, understand how you're going to resolve conflict, appreciate each other, have affection for one another, serve one another sacrificially. Remember that marriage is a work in progress and intimacy is developed over time, and allow the process of the progress of the marriage and die to self and cultivate being friends and never compare. Thank you so much for listening to me. Please continue sending in your questions, your comments, your feedback, areas that you want to handle in marriage. We've got too much to talk about in marriage, but right now we're addressing the key foundations in marriage. And thank you so much for listening to me. It's been such a pleasure also talking to you. And you're watching Just Angie, and my name is Angie Morenga. See you next time as we continue part 3 of the 12 steps or the 12 foundations of marriage.